on Varus right now?
Varus, I'm telling you, Max, man, you've just not seen it work.
I've seen one. What do you mean? I just said I seen one.
Chain of corruption. Okay, you've seen one Varus. Okay, one. But Oman could be used, as we mentioned, jumping into the backline, charming up, and also landing much easier. The Yasuo combination, but it's slightly harder because you don't have that multi-man knockup compared to only the Rakan. Going to be the only player on the side of Fast Pay Wildcats team that can combine that directly with the Yasuo.
Making our way forward, Futbolist are going to go for a little bit of a deep engage, which they have Braum. I mentioned it many times. Braum was his passive early on. Can proc at level 1, so no one's really wanting to take a fight versus the Braum at this stage. You can just get a 5-man stun if you're not being very careful about it. But so far, seems like the respect is going to come on through. No one's going to go for deep on engage, which I do appreciate. Thank you very much. Arigatou gozaimasu, my dudes. But yeah, Yasuo, played by Gandalf versus Rek'Na on this Corki in the mid lane position. It's going to be a very interesting back and forth between them, especially Corki. In this one, I'm expecting to see play around with this Braum into the mid to late game stage really heavily. I like that Braum is picked up here. I think that Alistar also is really strong, but I think the Braum is like... I would love to know actually what you think about this, Highland, but I think the Braum is like the best support to pair it with a Corki because he can just basically follow you anywhere you want, just jumping on you, and also with a Glacial Fissure, add an extra layer of CC on top of it all.
Exactly, the Glacial Fissure there to knock down as well, the CC combined with a Corki ability to reposition. I think that is what makes it slightly stronger than potentially an Alistar pickup, despite albeit the Alistar might have been a little bit stronger than, if we talk about support, than a Rakan, maybe direct just dive multi-man knockup. And also that frontline tank fit, I think, is what actually they're lacking. But talk about lacking, the health bars of these early game members in the top side. Boom, will get a home score through alongside Dovis Cannon. No kill goes through, despite that early engagement and the fact that it will be the top side turret to lose the first place in the initial turret gold, going to go in favor of Futbolist.
Yep, bottom tower also going to be picked up. Pretty usual cross mapping. You see it almost every single game by now. I think is the most renowned. I wouldn't even call it like strat. Yeah, I mean strategy. I guess you want to call it. It's just something so redundant. It's almost like it's just basic. It's very. It's about to get fixed in the most recent patches, or that are going to be coming in the future. So waiting for that, Jonathan. Please make it happen ASAP. I do not like this cross mapping. I want to have some normal 2v2 and 1v1 lanes matchups with no early towers going down. Please make it happen. I do not like this. This is not fun. But Caglian gonna get pushed up a little bit in the tower, and they did switch away this Corki and this Malphite from the bottom side of the map to the mid, which I think is good. I think that Corki is very vulnerable in the early stage, so they're gonna try and avoid it into the Yasuo. So Swiss gonna have to flash his way to safety. Be careful though. Rakan gonna jump straight back to his teammate Gandalf. Flanked on checking a bush. Maybe not something you want to do, but luckily enough for him, only the Malphite is gonna be there.
They will get the vision over in the top side. It will be the Wukong to slice that one up. The Rakan not going to be able to steal that one away. And we'll just research back to the top lane with Desire. Going to be the Love duo over in that top side. Be able to push it down into the second turret. Try to deny both farm on the reset potentially from the members of Futbolist now moving over into the top lane. That Malphite going to be the solo up against the duo. They're going to have the duo of that Boris and that Braum. Going to split map now, as you mentioned, now against the Kennen in the bot side against these solos, but it will be the Corki to land up that first blood against the Yasuo. That will be crucial to now provide that mid lane pressure, but he is slightly low. Has to be careful with his Olaf moving in.
You hate to see it for the Yasuo. Swiss going to have to use his Cyclone, his clone, sorry, to make it away. I just realized something. I was thinking of the rotation of Malphite and also the Corki from the bottom to mid lane. And I came to a realization, I'm not 100% sure if that is the case and the reason behind why they did it, but if it is, I think that is actually a really smart play from them. What they did is they put Corki into the bottom side because there was some cross-mapping already put into play by their very own team, and they're like, okay, with cross-mapping, we know they're going to be also trying to do a similar move into the bottom side of the map to pick up a tower. We want to put someone with high mobility. Malphite was not yet level 5, but Corki, even without level 5, can just roam around the map and be super mobile, very similar to a Camille. So they're like, okay, we're just going to put our champion with the most mobility in bottom side, and if they do decide to push the tower, he can easily escape, which is indeed what happened for Rek'Na. So I think that was overall a really good idea set up by Futbolist. And once again, I'm not 100% sure if that was the case, but if it was, that was some really good macro coming on through from Futbolist.
Ocean Drake going to be the first one up here, as it will be fast pay. Initially setting up for the position round. They are not checked out just yet, but we do know the vision is there. Futbolists are aware that they are performing that party brush, and it won't be sussed out by it. You now see the pressure instead going to be over onto that bot side turret, full sat rotation through, and then because of that, have priority over this river and have priority in this fight. The stun won't land on the Rakan, and now that's going to be a crucial weight that we need to take with this Malphite potentially jumping in as well.
Yeah, Rekton already popped himself that one. Flanked on a little bit AFK. Gotta be careful. Gotta move mad, dude. Avoid that damage. Ocean Drake gonna be pretty low. Oh, there you go. Kennen gonna go for the engage. The big CC coming on through, and there's nothing Futbolist can make happen. And then Katse with the re-engage with the Blade Caller. He is not making matters easy for Futbolist. Futbolist down to 2. LPS Pigas gonna have to move away. They are rather low, but same for the side of Wildcats. And that is gonna be a Drake stolen away and gone away of Wildcats once more.
The CC from the Kennen just too strong compared with a flash. The ability just to jump in, perform that multi-man lockdown. Yes, the Malphite didn't get stunned up. Yes, the Malphite did actually land his unstoppable force as well in that fight, but it just wasn't comparable to the amount of damage that Kennen can also start to put out compared to that Malphite going tank build, where the Kennen will go that Leandries, will go that Infinity Orb, will go that Rabadon's Death Cap, will be able to output the damage alongside the CC and be able to actually chunk down the members of Futbolist before we can even start coming out of our CC, before we can even start coming into the fight with our own damage.
Varus on the side. Kennen maybe looking for another opportunity to pop the ulti. Is not available currently, and there you go. That's going to be actually stolen away by Regner. That's big. He's going to go on deep, forced to flash away behind his Braum, which you talked about it. That is how you want to play that one. The Blade Caller could be huge for Katse if he's able to pop it now, but Yasuo gets a great ulti onto Regner, and there's not much you could really do in that kind of scenario. Scandalf going to get himself a nice little tornado onto Pigas. Can he find a kill last second? No. He cannot make it happen. And that is going to be a nice fight coming out from Futbolist. And this is back to a lot of back and forth. But at the end, that is going to be the Herald and the Drake going the side of... well, actually, no, the Herald got stolen away, but that was still the Drake earlier going the way of Wildcats. So they're still looking pretty good in this game. But Caglian getting for it on Can Hopeless. Maybe not the best idea. And he's going to be forced to flash away. Interesting. Interesting from Caglian.
Yeah, you don't have the damage from Malphite compared to the Kennen, who has that Leandries, who has the damage compared to you. Yes, you buy up your own Leandries, but it's not going to be comparable. You have to use the ulti for the damage, and you're not that 50% shunk with the damage from the Malphite AP build just yet. So you have to be a little more patient on that one. We do see, though, the second tier items now being built up. You see, of course, that Olaf going to go for that cleaver, go for that overtime sustain into that tank build as well. Already has that mobility with the spell, and I expect him to be not only in these fights, but I want to see this Olaf here a little bit more in front. Nice man. This, I would like to see him be the first man to engage, not for this Kennen to have to flash in to then land that slicing maelstrom, because he, as this Olaf, we all know too many times, Ragnarok can just actually be able to avoid all the CC that this Malphite, all the CC that the Chain of Corruption from this virus is going to be able to put out from the front end.
I think that they've been using the Unstoppable Force on this Malphite from Caglian as in retaliation to the engagement of Wildcat, but no, it should be the opposite. It should be Caglian engaging with the Unstoppable Force and creating that opportunity for his team, especially yeah, exactly, and especially for the Wukong too. That you're looking at him, he should be able to follow up on that one instantly, pop the Cyclone, and then on top of that, they also got the Chain of Corruption. This is the main combo you're expecting to see coming on through, and it should be very easy thanks to that Malphite, but they just haven't been executing it as they should be. So a little bit surprised that that's what's coming on through from Futbolist. So hopefully they're trying to fix that one on the go. Let's not forget, currently, if you guys did join the stream a little bit late, it is 1-1 in the series. Whichever team wins this one takes the match, which it could be Futbolist or it could be Wildcats. At this stage, I don't know too much, but Futbolist are lacking on the execution side of things.
Well, the pressure's on because look at that second Drake. It will be the Infernal Drake on this early game side. Boys won't be that final dragon to come through. And that's where it starts to get a little bit spicy because initially in the first fight around the Drake, Futbolist took control of the river, but it was the vision control that came through from Fast Pay Wildcats that allowed that flash from the cannon over to have knowledge of exactly where Futbolist members were. And you see, though, that Rift Hill going to be used in the mid lane. I think, of course, it is just going to be timed out. A bit of a shame to see that timed out. I think that could have been used a lot more effectively. Particularly keep in mind with this Drake Cup, it will be Futbolist to start this one off though.
Olaf onto the front line, doesn't really care too much about the passive of Brawl. McKinnon going straight for the engagement of the back line, but unfortunately no one is really there, so it's not going to have a huge impact. But now especially I'm looking at Cagley and he's just, where was the ultimate? Boom, didn't see it whatsoever. Very unfortunate. The Drake is down to 50% HP, but they're not going to go to it too quickly. Rekna, great snipe from a distance. Rekna able to actually jump right through. But he will get followed up very soon by Gandalf himself. And now Wukong left alone in that position. Brawl may try to assist it. Very close call for Flankton, but that is going to be an easy pickup. Normally for the Drake, they are pretty low, so they've got to be careful. But another fight for Futbolist where they just don't use Caglian as you might expect.
Yeah, Caglian was not in the optimal position. Yes, he lands in Unstoppable Force, but only onto realistically one member, not able to find it. And you see that will be the Drake go through for that Olaf, and for now, crucially, the second Drake combined the damage with the vampirism. It starts to get a little bit scary now for the side of Futbolist. They need to be able to take now this next Cloud Soul, be able to Cloud Dragon, and then be able to take the Mountain Soul to provide that innate tankiness going to late game, which will help mitigate the extra damage that's going to, in return, come from the side of Fast Play Wildcats Dragon.
Baron now going to be up. Potentially the fight coming their way very soon. You got to check that vision. Now as two Jakes going away of Wildcats, I'm a little bit skeptical as to what Futbolist can do because they still, at this stage, even though sure they are falling behind, they have the tools to make this work. They truly do, but the execution, I know I sound like a broken record, but it feels so bad when you have a composition this good and you're just not using it as it is supposed to happen. So I'm a little bit harsh on Futbolist, but I think it is for a good reason. Hopefully, at least they're not going to hate on me on social media after this, but I just want the best for Futbolist. That is all. I'm being a wholesome caster here. Look at me go. But at the end, Rekna also just going to be pushing on forward. They got to be careful. They need to get some vision down on this Baron pit because without that, one sneaky Olaf could easily 1v1 it. So you want to make sure you keep the vision down in that position.
Well, also look at the build for Varus. He's been able to get now that Rune and Hurricane alongside a Course Blade of Ruin King first item. Combine that with a Stinger as well, going to be able to provide that ability haste and be able to land those Blight stacks a lot more efficiently in these fights, which I think is the main thing that has been lacking here for Futbolist composition. Max Manley again, as talked about, haven't been able to make this Varus work, haven't been able to make that super long 2-second route from that Chain of Corruption land on some multiple members, particularly onto that Kennen, particularly onto that Rakan and Yasuo. Those are going to be the ones that are going to be moving about the fight more so than the rest, and that's what has been letting them down, I think, come for these Dragons. And now looking towards the Cloud, now looking towards the Baron, they have to now, with the build, with the items Varus has in hand, to be able to make that work.
Hopefully, yes. We'll see. Also, I'm seeing a lot of people in the chat asking here, what are the standings, yada, 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 which I understand. The graphics have not been updated as demanded, so hopefully we'll get some graphics later on next week for the overall points to keep you guys updated, just to keep you guys up to date as to where the production side of things is currently working with Zenith. So that should be coming up very soon. Now, Futbolist, they're trying to put the Malphite into the bottom side versus this Yasuo. Thing is, Malphite is one of the big part of the winning conditions of Futbolist, so not having him with you is going to be a little bit scary in my eyes. So we'll have to keep an eye out on for that one. But it's just a lot of stalling from both sides. It's just like, we do not know what we want to do. They're not looking for opportunities, which I do not like it. Is especially the side of Wildcats that are currently in the lead. Sure, it's not a huge lead, but I would like to see them make use of it in some way, especially when you see that they are so spread away from each other. I think there are so many opportunities Wildcat could have taken for themselves, but they're just taking it very, very slow. I would even say a little bit too slow, but that's just down to how they want to play, which I'm okay with, but I would be very sad for them to see them get a lead like this and then just give it away because they're just not capitalizing on those opportunities.
It's slow, but it also comes through to the defensiveness as well, the positioning here from side of Futbolist. And Futbolist actually just holding off for now in any fight that they can that could come through potentially against them. And understanding that they have two dragons against them, they have more crucially the Fire Drake against them as well. And now moving into this third objective, though, with the Cloud Drake coming on board, that's going to now be this next fight, and it's going to be up to Futbolists who just went back to shopping over items, see how that will turn in their favor potentially. Has to lock down with that Malphite Unstoppable Force alongside that Chain of Corruption onto this Ken, and cannot allow this Ken for a third time now to be able to trade. I think what in terms of trading we might do is actually pressure this Baron.
Yep, they're going to be threatening that one. Malphite goes for the potential engage very soon, straight for the backline, but his team is just not there. What are you doing, Kagli? An instant Blade Caller, and he is going to be an instant casualty. Swiss trying his best to get on top of Fleckan, but it's not going to happen at the end. And Futbolist, yeah, man, I don't know. Futbolist just lose absolutely everything, not even picking up one single kill along that one, and only Rekner will remain alive. That's a big F in the chat for Futbolist.
Yeah, they went through into the vision of Fast Pay Wildcats. They didn't understand exactly the positioning. They should have actually kept maybe a couple members through onto that Cloud Drake, still take the Drake as well, and be much more careful with how they engage through into the Baron. You could tell that Fast Pay potentially weren't going to immediately start that up because they weren't sure again in the positioning of where exactly and specifically Futbolists were. And you see, Corky, you're not going to be able to take that objective, my man. You're too low. You're on your own. And it will also now be the second. The Dragon going to go over towards Fast Pay. They're going to now snowball this one into a lead. But personally, Max, I don't think it's going to be enough for Futbolists now to come back from.
Nah, it's just too much. Futbolists, they have not been executed. I think, once again, I'm going to say their composition could allow them to make this comeback happen. But you see how... it was so weird how Caglian just dived the backline when his team was just clearly not there. There's a big miscommunication happening there, and hopefully they're going to be looking to fix it throughout the next few days of this tournament, and also for Mobile Mayhem, because this has been hurting them so much in the EU competitive scene as of yet. So many things to work on, and I'm sure they'll give it their best effort to get better as time comes by. Blade Caller once again. I gotta say, I'm just loving to see Katze play this. I think Katze and Doom have the best current pickups on this champion, though. Great Glacial Fissure coming out from the Braum. Flankton going to go for the charm. Can he connect on the Braum? He connects on two champions. That's going to be huge. Are they going to find kills off of it? Yes, they will. And they're going to keep the zoning happening. Pigas is down now. Without that front line, they're going to be threatened so damn easily. And there you go. Corky going to get put into the air. Gandalf a little bit too aggressive, maybe. Can he get the kill to Rector? Oh my god. He's doing so much work. He will die eventually, but not without doing some severe damage onto Futbolist, as now they've got to take care of their mid and top side turrets. As Teleport comes on through once again. Great knockup from the Rakan. Swiss will survive. But for how long? As they might be looking to actually finish off the game. They are rather low, so they've got to be careful how they approach it. Redemption going to go... What? What? Okay, Rekner, are you feeling good, mate? As Pigas going to have to now move his way out very soon into that fight. Hopefully the respawn will be good enough for him to join up with his team, but it's just not going to be the case. And that is going to be game going in favor of Wildcats. And Rekner? What?
Rekner jumped into the other side, into the afterlife is where he went. Two Futbolists we talked about going into this game is who takes the dragons, it's who starts to snowball these objectives, and you could see that was a